Good to see you here.
It's lovely to see you.
So we're going to just get started here in a moment. If everybody can mute themselves, that would be great. And the mute button is in the lower left-hand corner. You just click on the mute button.
Lower left hand. Okay, I'm sure. Mute.
Okay. So I'm going to switch back to my chair. And because I'm 49 years old and have to wear glasses to see in front of me to read, I'm going to be even more impaired when I'm by the sewing machine. I have to take off my glasses for that. So if you can't see something and you need to unmute and tell me, just go for it, okay? So today we're going to be making the button counter. It's the button counter mask that I found through the Facebook group SF/East Bay Crafters Unite ! And I'm actually using that group as a basis for everyone to go to if you want to know where to give your masks to and also get different mask ideas. So it's just a bunch of people who've gotten together to manage the masks. There's another one, there's another group, I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'll try to send you guys an email once I figure out how to share this recording with you as well, to give you more resources on where to send the masks and different kinds of masks to make. And also there's a need for surgical caps and gowns. So as we get further along in this coronavirus journey, there'll be plenty of opportunities to make fabulous things for all of our healthcare workers and people in hospitals. So to get started with this one, we start with a piece of fabric that measures about 8 inches wide by 14 inches long. Here, okay? And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold it with right sides together, and we're going to put the short ends together. So we have more of a square looking, right? It's more of a square looking rectangle with the outside of the fabric on the inside of this. Can everybody see that? Okay, good. Then we're going to stitch that edge closed using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think that if you do want to make masks, doing them in an assembly line is going to be the best way to make a lot of them at once. This one took me about 15 minutes to finish, but I think I could probably half that if I did a bunch of them all at once, like if I did 20 of them all at once. So anyways, once you have your seam sewn, then you're going to press that seam open. I have my handy dandy iron right next to me on this little arm board. I think it needs to wake up. My iron kind of goes to sleep every now and again. There we go. And after I press my seam open, I'm going to turn this little tube right side out and press that seam right at the top. So whoever just popped on, if you can mute yourself, that would be great. That way everybody, if you mute yourself, everybody can see me. Great, thanks, Karen. Did you mute yourself? I might put me in the spotlight. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see. Spotlight video. Okay, I think that now can everybody see me even though other people are making noise? Yes, okay. Okay, so once you've done your seam and you've turned it right side out, go ahead and press that edge where the seam is. Have it pressed, and that's going to be the bottom of our mat. I'm going to press the crease at the top. So we now have a rectangle that measures 13 and a half. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. It measures, I'll use my ruler. I can't do the math in my head for that. It's going to be about 6 3/4 inches high by 8 inches wide. Did someone have a question? No? Okay. So we have our seam at the bottom, and we need a ruler, and I have a friction pen here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a line 1.5 inches up from the bottom. And I'm just marking on both sides of the mask. So you can see I have a little mark here and a little mark here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that bottom edge down. The bottom edge is now at the top, but I'm folding it along that crease line or along that line, those lines that I marked, and iron. Then I have it unfolded, and I'm going to mark a line 1 inch up from that crease line. And that's where I'm going to bring the crease to that 1 inch mark. That's my first pleat. There we go.
Jennifer, can I ask a question?
Sure, yes.
I'm sorry, because I turned my head for a second. Did you do that first mark on the bottom, not the top where you sewed on the seam, but the bottom?
No, I did it from, I put the seam at the bottom.
Okay,
The
gotcha.
seam at the bottom.
Okay.
And then I creased it 1.5 inches up from the bottom edge. And then I marked a line 1 inch from that crease line and put the crease to that line, that 1 inch line, which makes a 1/2 inch pleat. So it looks like this. You have 1.5 inches up from the bottom, and then you have a 1/2 inch pleat, so it's 1 inch total of fabric. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Can I see how you did that again?
Okay, so I'm gonna unpin it. Here's our bottom edge with the seam at the bottom. And then I made a crease in the fabric 1.5 inches up from that bottom edge. See, that's the crease. And then I made a mark 1 inch up from the crease on both sides, and the pleat goes up to that mark. The crease goes up to that mark to create your first pleat. So here we are. We have I pinned my pleat.
Okay. So inch.
And then the next pleat is a 1/2 inch up. The next crease is going to be a 1/2 inch up from where that first crease was. So I marked a line 1/2 inch up here and 1/2 inch up from the crease here. And then I'm just going to crease that with the iron again, fold it back here. So it looks like that. And then I'm going to crease that. with the iron. So there's my second crease. Then we're
said-
going to, does anybody have a question?
I have a
Half,
question.
half
I just
an inch,
wanted-
right?
Okay.
Hold on, Erica. What was your question? Who's talking?
I just I have to run to the other room to iron, so I missed the second pleat.
Oh, so the second crease is a half an inch up from the first crease edge after you do the pleat.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see? So this, it's a half an inch up from the crease. And then I did another crease with the iron right there. And then you'll mark a line an inch above that crease line.
Could you just wait for us to catch up for a minute?
Sure.
So Jennifer, while they're catching up, can I ask you what the dimensions are?
The
Or the
finished dimensions or the original dimensions of the pattern?
original?
8 by 14.
Okay. Thank you. Did you close the top edge as well as the bottom?
So you take your 14 by 8 inch rectangle
Uh-huh.
and you fold it up like this, and then you stitch that top edge here.
And turn it right side out.
Turn it right side out, and that's actually your bottom edge. It's not your top edge. It's your bottom.
Right. Okay.
Jennifer, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Can you tell me if this is what you're talking about? Is this like what it's supposed to look like?
Yeah, that looks good.
And once you fold the first one up, I made my mark.
Yep.
And then you show me the fold again.
Yeah, so you make your second fold. The second fold is a half inch up from the first fold. And then you mark it 1 inch up from the crease. And you make your second pleat that way.
Oh, you mark it 1 inch up from the pleat.
From the crease.
From the crease.
So here's my second crease right here.
Uh-huh.
This is my second crease. And then I marked it from that crease line, I marked it 1 inch up. Because we're gonna make
Oh,
a half inch pleat.
okay.
So it goes
1
like
inch, 1 inch up. Okay.
1 inch up from the crease.
1 inch up from the crease. Okay. That's the crease. And then we're going, so it's like 1.5 inches total, huh? Or no, I don't know.
Well, you have your space between the pleats. You have your half inch space.
Right, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that looks right.
And then you're gonna do the same thing for your next pleat.
Can you tell us again, that was a half inch that you measured to make your crease, right?
Yeah, so it's from the first crease, you're gonna
Right.
measure up a half an inch on each side
Right.
and make your second crease.
Okay. Got it.
And then you mark a line 1 inch away from that crease line to create your second pleat, like that. Open.
Is that right? Jennifer,
Yes.
is that right?
Sorry, I'm getting all up in your business here. So, Erica, can I see the front of it?
That's the front. Oh, I'm sorry. This way.
Hold hold on, I'm gonna take
Oh, wait,
myself off.
I'm sorry. I think I did this. No, that's right.
Here, I'm canceling the spotlight. Let me see. So Erica, will you, Amy, can you,
No rush, it's fine.
I wanna see.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you
Oh,
about
okay.
like empty space.
No, that is not correct, Erica. It shouldn't be a
That- that
pleat.
point.
Okay,
There's
let me
no-
see. So undo your crease. Okay, and then,
Also like a good
no,
that
no.
Just first fold.
So where's your first crease?
Right
First,
here.
first crease goes up. Yeah, and then you need to mark a line a half inch up from that.
Okay.
project. So I mean, I agree with you on the text on that.
Whoever's talking, can you mute yourself other than Erica?
Yeah, that's a super easy thing.
Something's interfering.
I hear a man talking.
Yeah, I did too.
Who's the man?
I don't know.
Erica, is your husband in the room with you?
No, I'm by myself. There's nobody. It's
Okay, let me see who else is here. Hi, Lucy. Valerie, maybe it was Valerie's husband.
No, nobody here.
Valerie, can you mute yourself just in case? Okay.
There's nobody in the room except for me.
Okay. Right. Okay, anyway, so Erica, can you see Erica?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna start, so all your pleats should go in the same direction. So if you look at the screen, can you see me?
Yeah, hang on. I dropped my ruler. Yes.
You go back to me.
Yes. I can see.
The first crease is going up.
Right.
So the first pleat goes up and then the second pleat also goes up. So it's like this. So it looked like yours was meeting together, like, and I can't really do it with mine because it's already creased, but the first one goes up and then the second one goes in the same direction. So it looks like, do you see that?
Okay.
Then show it to me again.
Yep. Let me iron it so I can get the wrong crease out.
Okay, so our third pleat is the same. We mark a line up a half an inch from the second pleat, and we crease it. So we're folding it back like this. And then marking a line 1 inch up. From that.
Jennifer, something looks weird on mine. It looks really weird.
Okay.
Is this-
Let me come see. Let me put you in the spotlight. Hold on.
Here we go.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. I think, can you unpin the whole thing for me?
Yes.
And then maybe step back a little bit away from your screen so I can see more of the,
Yeah. Okay. So here's everything is unpinned now. And then the seam that we sewed is on the bottom.
right. Okay. Can you bring it a little closer to you? So a little closer to you. Yeah. And a little higher up. There we go. Okay.
Ah,
So your first one, oh, I think your So your first one is 1.5 inches up from the bottom. Your creases are correct. However, I think the distance that you're folding it up is too big.
Okay,
So
so I'm gonna,
I'm gonna tell you where to put your marks on
okay,
the side. So from the bottom, you'll make a mark 1.5 inches from the bottom.
okay. Okay, 1.5 inches from the bottom. Okay, and that's where my first mark was. Okay, so, but now I'll just measure again, because I
So-
gotta get,
So then the next mark you make is 1 inch up from that crease. So 2.5 inches up from the bottom.
2.5 inches up from the bottom, or 1 inch up from that line.
Right.
Okay,
So that line goes to that new line.
okay.
So the 1.5 goes to the 2.5.
The 1.5 goes to the 2.5. Okay, so I'm just gonna make the line right across so I know what I'm doing here. Right there, okay. And then 1 inch up from that, Jennifer, is
And
the
then-
next one?
No, the next one, you mark the crease 1/2 inch up from that creased pleat.
Okay, so I'm gonna make my lines first.
Yeah.
1/2 inch up from that is the next line.
And
So we're kind of decreasing 1.5, 1 inch, and then 1/2 inch on the 3 lines.
yeah, so you have 1.5, then you have a line at 2.5,
Uh-huh,
then you have a line at 3,
uh-huh.
then you have a line at, let's see, 4, then you have a line at 4.5.
Okay, so then one inch above that last line is the next line.
Yeah,
Okay,
wait.
which is,
So the first one is 1.5.
uh-huh,
We have 1.5, then we have 2.5,
then 3,
and 3,
and then 4, you said?
then 4, and then here, here.
Okay. And then for folding, I'm gonna fold the first one at the 1.5, and I'm folding under or over?
Okay, I'm gonna put myself on spotlight.
Okay.
All right. So here is what it looks like. This
Uh-huh.
is the 1.5. And then it comes up an inch.
Right.
Okay. And so when I'm folding it, when I'm creasing everything. So I crease the first one like this. And then the second one gets creased like this. And then the third one gets creased like this. But then it will be, so they're all the pleats are going up like this.
Okay. All the pleats are going up.
So here's the finished one. You can see each of them has a pleat right here.
And there are 3 pleats.
There are 3 pleats.
And can you let me know how wide the initial seam is on the inside?
1/4 inch.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna have to start over.
Erica, I think you're making it too hard on yourself.
I am. That's okay.
Okay, sorry, my laptop just jiggled, so I'm sorry for making you dizzy.
What's the dimensions like when you, after you put the pleats? Because mine is coming out to 3.5 inches. Is that too small or?
You know, mine is about a little more than 3.5 inches. It's a little bit short. I think it's hard to get the perfect size. It should probably be closer to 3 3/4 inches.
This doesn't look right. I don't understand what I'm doing here.
But yeah, mine is measuring about 3.5 inches when it's done too.
Okay, thank you.
Oh God, I'm still like, I'm so sorry, Jennifer, but I'm still screwy here. I'm not clear on something. I'm so sorry. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, so I did the first thing. Okay, so you told me to put the line down at the bottom, the first one, the 1.5 inch, and then I folded to that. So it looks like this. It looks like that.
I gotta get my glasses on again. Okay, wait, come. So the first one, hold on.
Looks like that. That's the first, that's the one to the 1.5 inch.
Which finger are you talking about?
Oh, this one down here, the one where the pins are.
Lift it up. No, that's, you're not gonna pin it 1.5 inches up. You're just creasing, you're just making a crease.
Oh, I'm just making, okay. And then what do I do at the 1.5 point? Do I move something to that, or how do I?
That's where your crease is. That's where you're
Okay.
ironing it. You're
Okay.
ironing it 1.5 inches up.
And I'm ironing it under, right? I'm ironing it under.
And then you're unfolding it
Uh-huh.
after you make your crease.
Uh-huh.
And the crease should be poking up towards you slightly, just so you don't want the crease going down. You want the crease going up.
Uh-huh.
And then you're marking a spot 1 inch away from that crease.
And that's where I'm folding it to?
Yep. So Eva, here it is. Here's my little accordion thing here.
Right.
Here's my 1.5 inch crease. This is the
Right.
bottom edge. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then this gets folded up 1 inch, but it's 1/2 inch at the bottom of the crease and 1/2 inch at the top of the crease. So it's 1 inch total from here to here. This one
Oh,
comes
1/2 inch from the bottom, and from the bottom of the crease, and 1/2 inch from the top of the crease. Oh,
There's
okay,
your
that's
inch.
what I
That's
didn't
your
have.
whole inch. So this line here that we marked 1 inch away from this crease, when we fold the crease to that line, the pleat becomes 1/2 inch deep.
Okay.
And then the next one, the next crease is 1/2 inch away from that crease line after it's pinned.
Okay.
And then the second one goes up another inch, creating another 1/2 inch pleat. Then you have a crease 1/2 inch from that comes up another inch. So it should look like this.
Okay. Okay.
And you can always refer back to that tutorial, the button counter for still images that aren't moving. If you want to look at that button counter tutorial. So once you have your 3 pleats, is everybody at the 3 pleat point, or do we have any more questions? Okay, so once we have it pinned, then you're gonna stitch 1/8 of an inch away from each edge, just to stitch those guys down. Just a basting stitch is fine. Mine got a little fuzzy on the edges, so I'm just gonna trim those little extra hairy bits off. Okay, so here we are. We have our mask with the pleats going on the outside. And then we start with our elastic. So I'm gonna pin the elastic on. Like this. So it'll be like it's right at the edge of the mask. Each of the elastics gets pinned on right to the edge, near the top and bottom edge.
Jennifer, how long is the elastic?
About 6.5 inches long.
And after you pin it in, then you just tack it down with a machine?
Yep, exactly. So we're just gonna tack it down. And I'm just gonna go all the way across one more time because it's faster.
Hey, Jennifer, are you gonna do it? Are you gonna make another one and show it all over again?
Would you like me to?
Yeah, good.
Well, the next one I'm gonna do is gonna be slightly different, but I'm gonna show you guys how to do it with a pocket inside so that people can put a filter if they have a filter.
Right.
I think some of the healthcare professionals, they switch out the mask, but they keep the filter.
Right.
Some just put these over their masks, their R95 or whatever those. She did not like the pin. Okay, there we go. So I've tacked it down. And I'm taking the pins out and clipping my loose threads. Okay, so then you should have 2 small rectangle pieces that measure roughly about 6 inches by between 1 3/4 wide to, I think, I used part of a jelly roll for the kits. So these are a little bit wider, which actually I like better than the skinnier ones. They're about 2 1/4 inches wide. And what we're gonna do with these is we're gonna fold them in half like this and press these. So with the wrong sides together, we're folding the rectangle in half.
And how long is it?
It's about 6 inches long, but frankly, I think it could be like 5 1/4 inches long is fine. Doesn't need to be quite 6 inches. Even 5 inches is fine.
And this is for a different mask or for the same one?
This is for the same one. So we're making this is for the side of the mask that's going to cover up the raw edges. So we're taking our rectangle, folding it in half like this with the outside showing, and then giving it a good press. And then once you've pressed it, then you're going to put it, I'm putting it on the outside where the where I've sewn the elastic. I'm just pinning it to the outside and having a little excess. Let's see if you can see. Can you see the excess there? We have a little extra on the sides because that's going to fold around like this, and we're going to pin that in place. Now, you can see, it's a little too long. So I'm just gonna cut off about an inch of it so that I have about half an inch to fold back like this. So really we just want it to fold back around the ends, about a half an inch. I'm going to do that on the other side, get them both pinned. So again, I have it lined up with the top edge, the raw edges together, and then half an inch fold towards the back. Trim.
This is Angela. Can you show us a close-up again of what you're doing there?
Okay, so I've taken the piece with the folded edge down and the raw edges together at the top. And on the back side, you can see that the end is cut extra and wraps around to the back side. Can you see that?
Thank you.
Yeah, and then we're gonna stitch it at 1/4 of an inch. I'm just taking the pins out as I go. And if it's a little thick, what I do is I start a little forward. I don't start right at the edge. I start a little forward and I go backwards first and then go forward after that. Sometimes it's hard when it's thick to start right at the edge. Okay. So here we are. We have our raw edges and we have this little binding piece. Here's the back. And then we're going to turn the binding piece so it goes up like this. This is what it looks like on the outside, and this is what it looks like on the back side. And we want to just press it from the front, from over here, so we get a nice crisp edge. I'm kind of trying to tuck those edges back a little bit, because what's going to happen now is we're going to fold this down over the raw edge and pin it in place. So this is what it's going to look like after you pin it. And you can see now we don't have any more raw edges over there. Okay. And I'll just repeat that for the other side. So I'm taking it and I'm turning the binding up. So it goes up like this. Give it a good press. And then folding it back, pinning it down. And when I'm pinning it down, I'm just kind of tucking any of the little loose hairy bits back inside. And then it's going to get stitched really close to this seam to hold down that binding. Okay, so after this, there's one final step. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stitch again, but we're gonna bring the elastics out so they're on the side like this. And we're going to then stitch all the way down, but close to the outer edge. So it holds the elastic down. So I'm not going to use any pins for this. I'm just going to make sure the elastic's kind of sitting in a nice place. Making sure I back stitch at the beginning and the end, and then just sewing close to the edge. And repeating on the other side. Okay. Got a random black thread in my sewing machine. Well, I have to say, my second one looks a lot better than my first one. I think that'll probably be the case with everybody's. But that's it. That's the completed mask. I believe, actually it could probably be worn either way at this point, but yep. This is what it looks like when it's on. So I think for me, I might have to make, no, actually that's okay. So it looks like, so this will be mine. I think the whole family is getting these. But okay, so does anybody have any questions about how to do this particular mask?
Just tell me one more time, the dimensions were 14 by 8?
Correct.
Okay.
And the little pieces are about 2 inches by 6 inches. But
Right.
I think 2 inches by 5 is plenty for this mask. And then let's see, what time are we at? Well, we're close to the full hour, but I will stay on and do the mask with the pocket if anybody wants to stay with me here to do that. It's very similar. It just doesn't, we're not gonna sew down the bottom edge like we do at the beginning. But before you go, if you have a chance to pop over to Google and give me a review on Google, that would, or Yelp, that would super help me out, especially in how it relates to learning in this way as opposed to in person. I'm trying to transition a lot of our classes to be online now, and I want to make sure that people know about it. But also, if you have any feedback, if you can just email me and let me know anything that you think would be better or any different things that you'd like to learn, I'd love to share with you.
So how do we find the review section?
Oh, so if you just Google my business, if you Google the Sewing Room Alameda, and you click on the Google listing, if you scroll down, it should you should be able to give a review.
Got it. I'd like to stay on to see the other mask.
Absolutely. Okay.
I have a question. I may not be able to stay on the full time to see the other one, but where do we drop these off? We're supposed to, after we complete them.
Yes. Where do you drop them off? Is that your question?
Yes, yes.
I would say go head on over to that Facebook group that I mentioned in the beginning. It's SF/East Bay Crafters Unite ! And there's information about drop off and pickup there. I think we're trying to organize a collective pickup so that one person is either picking them up or there's one drop off place. There's different organizations who need them. And I'm just sort of pushing everybody over to that Facebook group because they're going to have all of that information in one place. And I think I even have a list actually for Kathy and Erica who are down in Hayward and Fremont. Maybe I will send you a separate email because Linda, who did the bra class, sent me a list of organizations down near you that are looking for masks. So, oh, and also I guess Valerie. So Valerie, Erica, and Kathy, I know, are down in the Hayward, Fremont area. So I'll try to send that to you guys today.
Oh, so you're going to send us how we deliver them?
Yes, but feel free to go to that Facebook group as well, because there'll be a lot more information there on which organizations really need them right now. And then there's also more information about different kinds of masks that you can make and the reasons behind making them a certain way.
Right. Yeah, I saw a lot of those online.
There's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So
Jennifer, is that linked to the the URL for that Facebook group in the email you sent out?
yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the next version, and you don't have to stay on for the whole thing for this because we're only changing one thing to give it a pocket. Okay. So instead of joining it like this, what we're going to do is we're going to hem each end. So we're going to fold it back a quarter, and then stitch that down on each of our short ends. So
Jennifer, I had to step away and do a quick diaper change. Do you mind just describing one more time the difference to get started on this one?
yeah. Hold on, let me finish this scene. So,
Okay.
okay. So instead of sewing the two short ends together, I hemmed each edge. So I turned it back a quarter and another quarter. You could even do an eighth if you're feeling like you can do that. But I just stitched down each side. And instead of this being the bottom now, this is actually going to be the top. So we're going to put the two pieces together like this. So with the opening at the top. And we'll go ahead and press that so that those two hemmed edges match. Press the crease at the bottom. Okay, so we have our little rectangle here, and then I have the opening for the filter is going to go in there. That's our top edge. Okay. So just like we did before, we're going to mark. And I'm gonna, because we lost about a half an inch in there, I am going to start it 1.25 inches from the bottom instead of 1.5 inches. Do my first crease. And then I'll mark a line 1 inch up there.
How far up?
1 inch up from the first crease. So just like we did with the first one,
Okay.
at the bottom, instead of having the first one 1.5 inches up, we're doing just 1.25 inches.
Right.
To give us back that extra half an inch that we.
The open end is the top or the bottom?
The open end is the top.
Okay.
They're gonna have to put the filter in the top of the mask. If they put it in the bottom of the mask, I think it might just fall in. So we will then fold up that first pleat. So we have our first pleat down at the bottom. And then to make our second crease, we're going 1/2 inch up from that pleat. Okay. All right, so then after we make that crease, we have it flat again like this, and we're gonna mark a line 1 inch above that crease. For the next pleat.
You said 1 inch?
Yep. So we're then lifting our crease up to that inch line. And then our final pleat, our final crease is a 1/2 inch up from that crease.
Sorry, I'm still on the second pleat. How far up from the first fold?
So the second crease is a 1/2 inch up from the first crease after you've pleated it. So if let me undo it again so you can see it's the same. The only difference with this one is the bottom, the first crease is 1.25 inches up. The first crease is 1.25 inches up from the bottom edge. Then we mark a spot 1 inch up from the crease so that we can have our first pleat. And then from that first pleat, it's a 1/2 inch up from that to make our second crease. And then we mark a line from that second crease 1 inch up to make our second pleat. So it looks like that.
So it's 1 1/4. Oops. It's 1 1/4, a half.
No, it's 1 1/4 and then 1.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then 1.
And then a 1/2 inch to make the second crease.
Okay.
And then 1 inch up from that crease to make your second pleat. And then we just repeat that for the third pleat. We have a 1/2 inch up from that second pleat after it's been pinned. And that's where we make our third and final crease. And we have 1 inch up from that crease. To make our final pleat. Yeah. Someone's phone is ringing. Not sure who it was.
I muted it.
Okay. Here is what it looks like, just like the other one, except now at the top edge we have this opening like that. And now we're going to just stitch the sides down just like we did with the other one.
Is that a 1/4 inch closing on the sides?
I just do an 1/8, the base. It's like a basting at an 1/8 on the sides because we're gonna stitch the binding on. So
Right.
yeah, we don't want any of these stitches to show.
Jennifer, I'm just wondering, so how is the filter going to fit in there? Do they cut them, or how is this supposed to fit over later?
So once they open it up like this, they can put the filter right inside there, and that's going to be at the top like this. Does that make sense?
So they stuff the whole thing in there, elastics and all kind of thing?
Yeah, the filter part, not the, I think it's maybe not the whole mask, maybe it's just a filter, because these are actually meant to go over a mask. These will go over a whole mask, or some people have a filter that they can just reuse.
Oh, or they wear it, like they wear the other one under, actually wear it, and then put this
and then
over.
they change these out for every patient they have.
And it doesn't have to be bigger for that, just because those 95s kind of bulk out or something?
I think this is meant to fit over one of those, but I also found a pattern yesterday that was meant specifically to fit over those that has ties, and it's a little more complicated of a pattern.
Yeah.
But I think that's the one that I'm going to do next week.
Okay, thanks.
I might share the pattern ahead of time so that you guys can go ahead and get everything cut out if I don't have enough kits for everybody. So when you're doing the elastic, you just want to make sure the elastic is, I don't know if it matters which side it's on. I'm doing it on the front side.
So the elastic is applied the same way as before.
Yeah, everything else is exactly the same.
Hey, Jennifer,
Yes?
can you just run through those dimensions for the first mask one more time so I can write it down?
8 by 14.
Pardon me?
The one rectangle, 8 by 14.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the folds. The first fold was an 1.5 inch.
For the first mask or the second mask?
The first one.
The first one. The first crease is 1.5 inches up from the bottom. And then you fold that up to align 1 inch above that crease. Once you have that crease, you measure up 1/2 inch and make another crease.
Okay.
And then you make a mark 1 inch above that crease and bring the crease up to that mark.
Okay.
And then you repeat that for your third pleat. 1/2 inch up from the crease, make a crease, and then 1 inch up from the crease. Put your crease up to that inch line.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer.
You're welcome. I'm sticking the elastic down. And then after you get the elastic stitched on, like the bunny fabric. So we have this guy gets folded in half like this, increased. Do that with both of them. You pin the raw edges together.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'll see you at 1 o'clock. I gotta go take care of a couple things with hubby now. He just got home.
Okay, bye, Erica.
Bye. I'll get it. I'll figure it out.
Okay, you can ask me again at 1.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Yes, and then this guy, we have a little bit on each end that we fold back.
Jennifer, I'm going to sign off also.
Okay, Valerie, thanks for being here.
Yeah, I had fun. It was good.
Okay, good, thanks.
See you later.
Bye.
Nicole?
So these guys fold it back. And then I'm just going to stitch these down, 1/4 of an inch from the edge. So once that's folded, once that's stitched down, then we can fold these ends up. This, both sides. And give this a good press. And after it's pressed, then we fold it back, cover up the raw edge of the other side. it's pinned in place. Stitch down close to that. And
What are the dimensions of the side covers, the strips?
they are about the ones that I did from the jelly rolls were 6 by 2 1/4, but the actual pattern says that they should be 1 3/4 by 6. And what I find is that the 2 1/4 is better than the smaller one, and that you only need about 5 inches.
Mine's too short to flip over to make the to make the cover on the other side. It's too short because I followed the pattern. Sorry, baby.
Well, the pattern is too short.
It's not wide enough, the strip.
Oh.
See,
So-
because like here's
Yeah.
one side and then here's the other side after I flipped it over. I only have this much space. So if I try and fold it, I lose all of it on the other side.
Wait, turn it around again. So you can trim off, so fold it back down. You probably took too much of a seam allowance. No. That's not what I mean. Fold the binding back down so that it looks like it did before you flipped it up.
Oh.
And then trim your seam allowance.
So I did it twice because I thought I left too much and then I went a little bit further in.
It's too far in. Your seam allowance is too far in. That's why. So it should only be 1/4 inch. And that piece should wrap around that seam allowance and just cover the seam allowance. So it should look like this on one side and this on the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try the next one with a wider piece like yours. You said you did 2
the wider, I like the wider pieces. This is the one that I did with the 1 3/4, and it was just a little harder to manage and deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the wider 2 1/4 better. Just gave me a little extra room, wiggle room. How did your diapers turn out?
They are work in progress. They're getting better. Everyone gets better.
Exactly. Just like these masks. Ran out of bobbin thread.
All right, I gotta go because the baby's calling. So, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Did someone say goodbye?
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody want to watch me finish the final one, or are we all good?
I'm good. Thank you very much for the video and the class.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And also for cutting the fabric out. It was awesome.
Well, I'm going to try to have a whole another batch for next week, so we can do this again Friday with the other version, with the one with the ties instead of the other.
I'll also email you a pattern that I did and I modified it. I just made it reversible.
Oh, great.
So I'll email it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thanks everyone.